The day had already been long enough. It started with a huge shipment return at work, an entire pallet mislabeled and sent back, which meant scrambling to redo everything under pressure. Then, just as I was finally grabbing a coffee, I spilled the entire cup right onto my pants. That was all before lunch. I remember thinking things couldn't get worse. But they did. It was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon when my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number. Normally I'd ignore it, but something compelled me to pick up. "Hello," answered. A calm but serious voice responded. "Is this Alex?" "Yes," I said slowly. "This is from hospital. I'm sorry to inform you that your wife was involved in a car accident. She's here with us right now. We need you to come as soon as possible." I was frozen. "There must be some mistake," I replied, my voice cracking. "My wife doesn't drive. She doesn't even own a car." But the voice on the line spoke my wife's full name, repeated it, then gave me the hospital's name and location. My heart dropped. Without thinking, I grabbed my keys and bolted. The entire drive was a blur of panic and confusion. I kept telling myself it had to be a mistake. Laura walked to work every day. Her office building was only 3 blocks from our house. What could she possibly be doing in a car, in the middle of a workday? I tried calling her phone, but it was off. That wasn't unusual during meetings or presentations, but this time it felt different. When I arrived at the hospital, reality hit me hard. It was Laura. Seeing her there, unconscious and surrounded by machines, broke something in me. The trembling that had started the moment I got the call turned into full body shakes. I couldn't hold on to my keys. Couldn't unzip my jacket. Couldn't even speak properly. My mind was screaming, but my body wouldn't obey. A doctor in a white coat approached, speaking in a low, measured tone, but I could barely comprehend his words. All I managed to absorb was that she was in critical condition, unconscious, fighting for her life. "But, my wife doesn't drive," I kept repeating, like if I said it enough, it would undo what happened. Who was she with? Where was this? He flipped through a folder. The car flew off the road into a wooded area. She was the passenger. Who was driving? I demanded. He looked at the papers again, then gave me a name. A man's name I'd never heard before. "Is he from her work?" I asked. The doctor just shrugged, visibly uncomfortable, and walked away. I stepped around a corner into the hospital lobby and sat on the windowsill, trying to make sense of everything. My thoughts were a mess. My hands were still trembling. Then I heard footsteps and a conversation, low voices just around the corner. "How's the husband doing?" a woman asked. "Did you have to sedate him?" "No," answered the male voice, the same one who had just spoken to me about Laura. "I didn't tell him." "What do you mean you didn't tell him?" she asked, surprised. I stayed vague. What was I supposed to say? That we found his wife half-dressed with some guy. That the driver had his pants around his ankles. That she was in the passenger seat next to him. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what was going on. They chuckled grimly. "Guess you're right. No need to stress him out more than he already is." I slid to the floor behind the wall, invisible, and began pounding my fist against it. My voice cracked into sobs. "That's not true. That's not true," I kept whispering. But I knew it was. Somehow, in the middle of an already unbearable day, I was being hit with 2 heartbreaks at once. They let me in to see her. I sat beside Laura, barely able to breathe. Her head was wrapped in thick bandages, blood seeping through. It was the worst thing I'd ever seen. I held her hand, shaking, whispering her name, crying without shame. Minutes felt like hours. It was agony. And then, miraculously, her fingers twitched. She let out a soft moan. Her eyes opened just a sliver. She looked at me. Tried to smile. "Forgive me," she whispered. "I love you so much." I pushed everything aside. The betrayal, the accident, the voice behind the wall. "Shoo, it's okay, honey. Just rest. Please rest. You're going to be okay." She closed her eyes. And went still. I ran out to find a doctor. "She's awake. Come quick." A man followed me in, checked her vitals, looked into her eyes, took her pulse. Then he looked at me and said softly, "I'm sorry. Her injuries were too severe. Her body couldn't handle it. She's gone." That was the moment my life broke into before and after. Laura and I had been married for 6 years. She was my person, my partner, my best friend. And in a matter of hours, I found out she'd been unfaithful. And then I lost her forever. Oddly, in the middle of the pain, I felt grateful that we never had children. We tried for years, but now, I don't know how I could have explained any of this to a child. I asked the staff about the man who had been driving. I needed to see him. I needed answers, or maybe just someone to blame. "He died on impact," a nurse told me. "Massive head trauma. He never had a chance." "Did anyone come for him?" "Yes. His family. His wife and kids are here somewhere." And then I saw them. A woman stomped toward me, dragging 2 little boys behind her. She was loud, brash, and angry. "You," she yelled. "You're the husband. Look at me. Look at my boys. Your wife dragged their father to the grave." The kids were crying, wiping at their noses, totally overwhelmed. And she didn't care. She ranted about how hard her life would be now. How miserable. Oh, poor. And how it was all my wife's fault, which by extension made it my fault. "So now you owe me alimony," she declared. Any sympathy I had evaporated in that moment. I told her to go to hell and walked away, her threats and insults following me down the corridor. Later that day, I sat outside the hospital on a cold metal bench. Just hours earlier, I was a man with a wife, a normal life, a future. I had nothing but questions and pain. How had I not seen the signs? Had she been unhappy? Was I blind? I suppose people would say karma came fast for them both. The cheaters paid with their lives. A few days later, I got a call from an insurance company. They said Laura had signed up for a policy months ago, part of a workplace deal. "You're listed as the beneficiary," the agent said. "We'll need you to come in and sign the paperwork. The payout is quite significant." I couldn't process it. I called one of Laura's friends from work. She confirmed it. Back in April, insurance agents had visited the office, offering cheap plans. Everyone signed up. "We even joked," she said. "If we die, at least our husbands get something out of it." She laughed. I didn't. The check arrived. A life-changing amount of money. But it didn't feel right. No amount of money could fix what had been broken. It couldn't undo the betrayal. It couldn't bring her back. Couldn't give me closure. That same day, I looked up the address of the nearest children's home. And I donated every last cent. Maybe someday the grief will dull. Maybe I'll find a way to keep living. But for now I just keep breathing. One moment at a time.